Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here and welcome back to our spoiler discussion video series. This time we're going to be discussing the spoilers that are going to be happening for Vingolf 3. Now if you saw my video on Tuesday, you saw that I made a couple of predictions and whatnot about what I think could be the rulers for Vingolf 3 and Return of the Dragon Emperor. Well, the very first spoiler for Vingolf 3 is actually all 5 of the rulers that we're going to be getting in this little kind of like expansion, kind of like plus set. And basically I was totally wrong with my prediction for Vingolf 3 at least, because we had the idea, or we got the inclination that they were going to be related to dragons in some fashion. I thought it was maybe going to be characters that we know from Force FOW turning into dragons, but turns out that the rulers are just dragons themselves. They're just like, well, they're called like the guardians of the magic stones and whatnot, so they are all just basically dragons, and when they like flip to their J-ruler side, they become even mightier and more epic looking dragons and whatnot. So I was wrong in that sense, but as we go into looking at these cards, I think they are kind of interesting. So we'll start off here with the Guardian of Light Magic Stones, who's the light ruler. It is a dragon, of course. Judgment cost for all of these rulers is going to be 5. So for the light one, it's 2 light and 3 void. Obviously it comes with energize, but it comes with a new keyword here, and I don't know whether this keyword is going to be exclusive to the Vingolf rulers, or whether we can maybe see a bit of resonance coming in for Return of the Dragon Emperor. It would be pretty neat. This new keyword is called resonance. So basically, the example given here on the light ruler, light magic stones gain target resonator you control gains 200 until end of turn. So basically, I read up on the article, and from my understanding, the way that resonance works is that basically when you call a stone, and if that stone happens to be the stone like that goes with the ruler, so for instance, if you were using this ruler and you called a light magic stone, upon that instance that you called that stone, a resonator you control gains 200 until end of turn. So basically, it's like an enter effect. As long as that stone entering is a light magic stone, you're getting the effect that happens, which is, is kind of interesting because it makes you want to think about when you actually call your magic stone, because maybe you don't want to call it at the very start of your turn, depending on the effect that will happen when you call for it. So obviously, if we pay the judgment, we get Avatar of Light Magic Stones. And I also like to point out that all of the rulers and whatnot that we're getting are going to be full arts. Now, I don't know whether they're going to be just normal plain full arts, or maybe they're going to be foil. I would love it if they were foil, because obviously, since it's like a set build here, we're not getting like any random cards and whatnot. It's not like random packs like a booster box. So we're just getting like an expansion set. I would love it if these were all foil. I can understand if maybe they're not foil, because, not all the cards or whatever in Vingolf were foil. I think only like exclusive, a few of them were. But I can understand if they don't do it, but it would be amazing if they did. So when it flips over, it is the Avatar Magic Stones. It is 1000 attack and 1200 defense. It's got flying, obviously, because it's a dragon. And when this card enters your field, destroy all non-magic stone and non-J-ruler cards. So essentially, it's like a complete board wipe for things that are not magic stones and not J-rulers, which includes your side of the field as well. So I feel like the only reason you would actually flip this is if you felt like your opponent has built up too much of a wall or something like that, and you feel like you don't have anything that can like counter it straight away. So you're just thinking, you know what, I'm just going to wipe your whole board because I'm not worried about losing stuff on my side because I've not got anything. So that was really like only really the time I would maybe think to actually flip it over. Next up, we've got the Guardian of Fire Magic Stones. I really like this one. Like, I like how this one's kind of like guarding all this like molten firestone like segment. It looks really cool. Obviously, it's got a judgment of 5. It comes with Fire Energize, and its resonance ability is that Fire Magic Stones, when they enter, can deal 200 damage to target resonator. So that's actually quite handy. Like if you worked that in tandem with, say, Demon Flame, that would be a pretty neat trick or whatever, which I quite like. And then we flip it over to Avatar of Fire Magic Stones, and it grows like 4 arms, and it's amazing. And it's 12,000 attack and 1,000 defense. Obviously, it's got flying. When this card enters your field, this card deals 1,000 damage to each resonator your opponent controls. So basically, this is like Sylvia times 5, essentially, for that effect. And if a resonator dealt damage by this card this turn, would be put into a graveyard, remove it from the game instead, which is kind of neat. It's almost like a little bit like a boost, like, in a way, it's kind of like a combination almost of, say, well, not like a proper combination, but it's like kind of like gimmicky in the fact, like, the 1,000 damage or whatever, I can see that coming from Sylvia, and the removing things from the graveyard or whatever, I can see that slightly from Alisaris. So maybe potentially fire resonators that we might get this set. I'm always saying, my girl Sylvia, I want to see her again. Possibility. Next up, we have the Guardian of Water Magic Stones, which is looking absolutely gorgeous, and I love this kind of like pedestal thing that it's got in the centre here. It just looks amazing. Obviously, cost of 5 for the Judgment, Energized Water, and the resonance is that Water Magic Stones, when they are called in, you can look at the top card of your deck, then put it to the top or bottom of your deck. So basically, it's like a new kind of Shion, basically, where you can like check the top card, decide whether it's going on the bottom or the top, so you can like decide whether you want to draw into it or not, which is kind of neat. And then it turns into the Avatar of Water Magic Stones, and it's reminding me a lot of Gyarados, actually. It's got 1100 attack and 1100 defense. When this card enters your field, return all Resonators your opponent controls to their owner's hand. So basically, you're bouncing everything back to your opponent's hand, which, you know, is pretty neat thing, especially if, like, say they've like got a ton of stuff on their field, or you know that the stuff that they've got in their field is maybe got tokens on them, so they'll lose those tokens, or maybe they've got additions on them, they'll lose the additions, whatnot. It is a pretty handy ability to have, even if like the judgment cost is a bit costly. Next up, we've got the Guardian of Wind Magic Stones, and I really love the kind of antlers it's got and the really feathery kind of wings it has. And then, like, if you look in the inside of the wings, it almost looks like tree bark. It looks really gorgeous. I just love the artwork for these dragons. Obviously, the Judgment is 5, Energize of Wind, and the Resonance, which is actually one of my favourite Resonance abilities, is that Wind Magic Stones gain, target Resonator gains tap, produce any colour until end of turn. So essentially, if you were, say, running the, what's it called now? It's like the new elf, basically, that taps for green. So basically, new Elvish Priest. I can't remember the name of it. But basically, if you have one of those and you just call a stone, your Elvish Priest, or whatever we're calling it, I can't remember what it's, like Sacred Elf, I think that's its name. Sacred Elf is basically going to produce any colour for the rest of the turn, just because you called a magic stone, which I think is one of the more handier abilities, because it's like giving a better chance to ramp when you've got more possibilities for colours. So you don't necessarily need to have, like, say, you could run other colour resonators in your deck, but you could still run mono green stones, because obviously if you're at least running the Sacred Elf, then you don't need to worry about losing those colours and whatnot. And even if you've got some kind of like low cost resonators like Tama, for instance, really the only other thing Tama can do, other than getting you to draw a card, is like when you banish it, you deal the 2 -200 to something. Tama could easily just like tap to produce Will It as well. So depending on which one you want to pick, that would be also a really good idea. And then it turns into Avatar of Wind Magic Stones, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I just love all these like lightning effects in the background, and the antlers, and the glowing things in the wings. It just looks amazing. The attack is 1000, and the defense is 1200. When this card enters your field, put 2 100 Wind Elf Resonator tokens into your field. So you're seeing a little bit of token action here. And then Resonators you control gain tab, produce any colour. So basically, we don't need to worry about calling stones. This effect is now like permanent now on this side. So again, pretty awesome ability to have, and obviously you get some tokens, so like there's a little bit of like feasting play here, I can see. And lastly, we have Guardian of Darkness Magic Stones, the Darkness Dragon, obviously. It's a cost of 5, Darkness Energize, and Darkness Magic Stones produce like target resonator gains -100 until end of turn. So basically, call a stone, it's losing 100 for the rest of the turn. Pretty basic stuff. And then when it flips over, it gets 1200 attack and 1000 defense. When this card enters your field, your opponent banishes 2 resonators. I think out of all the flip abilities, this is maybe the weakest, because it's only targeting 2. Like, for a judgment cost of like 5, you would expect for like some kind of enter ability that's like pretty good. Like, I think out of all the enter abilities from these dragon rulers, the dark one is the weakest, because obviously the fire one, you're dealing 1000 to everything. Light, you're getting a board wipe. The water one, you're bouncing everything. The green one, you're getting any colour you want from your resonators. And the darkness one just seems really, really weak. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Don't really like it. Probably if I'm going to build any of these rulers, which I feel compelled to build for the fire one at least, because I quite like the fire one. That's really cool, and it would be really cool to like build like if we got enough dragons, we could build like a total fire dragon deck. If Sylvia is obviously a resonator, include her. But I think the fire one is probably my favorite. My second one, I think, would maybe be the water one. And then after the other three, I think the green one would be my next, the light one after that, and then the dark one just be the last one. But overall, guys, I'm really interested in what kind of spoilers we're going to see from now on. I'm curious to see which characters they've picked to be featured in Vingolf 3. I think people were saying that by likelihood we are definitely probably going to see maybe Loki. We're maybe going to see Little Red. the true fairy tale version, we're going to see Sylvia. We might see like Zero and Feasting and some of our other beloved characters. We just don't know. We just need to wait and see what's going to happen. So the next spoilers will be out on Tuesday. I'll have a video out covering them later on in the day. As you know, when these spoiler videos come out, I usually post them later in the day, so you can expect the next spoiler discussion to be happening later on Tuesday evening. So until next time, guys, I will see you all later.